Somebody said, wait.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Alabama post-game reaction show. We're going to be breaking down some winners and losers from Alabama's dominating 56-7 win over Middle Tennessee State to start the season. I'm Stacey Blackwood, joined by Jake Thomas as we break down game one of the 2023 season from the Crimson Tide. A lot of question marks entering this matchup on this team, Jake. And, one of the biggest ones was the quarterback situation at Alabama. And I think if you're going to talk about a winner, it's all going to start with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. I feel like he had a outstanding night. He needed to come out and I guess talk about taking over the team. And I feel like he put the team on his back. He wasn't perfect, but a guy making his second career start against a I've been going back and forth with people all night on Twitter about this, but against a Middle Tennessee State team who returned 8 or 11 starters on defense. I feel like he had a good night and showed his arm as well. That's another big question mark is his accuracy. We knew he could throw it, but his accuracy and a couple of times, boy, that accuracy showed up and showed out.
Yeah, no doubt. And he had several long balls in the game. One to Jermaine Burton, one to Isaiah Bond, hit Amari Black once. So really showed off, like you said, his accuracy down the field. Did a really good job of kind of managing himself inside the pocket. Made plays on the ground. The first Alabama quarterback ever to rush or to throw for 3 touchdowns and to rush for 2 in the same game. So a record-setting performance in his second career start for Alabama, the first of this season. So definitely one of the biggest winners of this game was Jalen Milroe, and the fact that he really played well and performed well when there was a lot of naysayers. Let's just keep it honest, Jake. A lot of people did not believe in Jalen Milroe, and he really showed up and played really well. So he definitely is one of the winners of the game. We have a poll out right now there. If you can see that. We want to know, did Jalen Milroe earn the official QB1 job tonight with his performance against Middle Tennessee State? Click yes or no, whatever you think. And a lot is to be excited about from this matchup. Like we said, Milroe is obviously one of the winners. Jake, if you look at the offensive side of the football, outside of Jalen Milroe, who do you think was a winner for the Crimson Tide on the offensive side of the football? It looks like Jake might have had some internet issues, but we'll carry on. Look, Isaiah Bond, I thought he really stepped up as a wide receiver and showed that he can be a big-time playmaker for this Alabama offense. Caught the long touchdown pass from Jalen Milroe. Also made a lot of plays in the short game to pick up first downs. And I was really pleased with the way Isaiah Bond performed. And then you look at a guy like Amari Black, another winner on this offensive side of the football, where he was able to make plays in the passing game and also, really show that he can be a threat in the red zone and a threat as a blocker. He really performed well as a blocker as well. So really good performance from Amari Black, Isaiah Bond. Really like what Black is going to bring to this team. I think you're going to see Black's role really increase throughout the season and really prove to be one of the more dangerous tight ends in the SEC. So, yeah, Jake is frozen in deep thought. Yeah, gotta love technology, but just bear with us there as we work through that. Would love to get y'all's reactions there in the comments as well. Let us know who you think are the winners and losers from this contest. I thought for the most part, the defense played really well. They tackled pretty well in space. They forced a couple turnovers. I thought a surprising player was Kendrick Blackshire. He played even in the first half, and then in the second half, there was a series where he made the first 2 tackles on first and second down, and then on third down he forces the fumble and then recovers. It kind of really just steals it from the Middle Tennessee State receiver. So I really thought there was some good play on the defensive side of the football as well. Would love to, like I said, get your winners and losers from today's matchup. I hate to pick out a loser in a 57 or 56-7 win. So that's going to be a little hard to kind of comb through. They allowed a touchdown. Season is over, honestly. Yeah. Some Alabama fans probably actually believe that, but really good win for Alabama, 56-7. Really excited about what this team can do moving forward. I think the best is yet to come. I thought Milroe is obviously the story of the game. Like we mentioned in the opening, he was the he was the question mark. That quarterback situation was the question mark entering the contest, and you have to take it for what it's worth. It was Middle Tennessee State. That's not Texas. Next week is going to be a completely different animal for Jalen Milroe and that offense. But I thought Milroe handled himself well. He done what the coaching staff wanted him to do. He took care of the football. He made deep throws down the field that were accurate, and I thought he played about as good as you can expect him to play. Bama 76 says the fans are the losers, and we wanted to see Jalen more. Yeah, I thought he might have gotten one more series than what he did, but uh, uh, I'm sure the coaching staff want to see what they have with Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson as well. And what about those two guys coming in and each having a touchdown of their own? So good news for them. I thought the quarterbacks, looked pretty solid. The offensive line did their job. The running backs, look like we have 4 or 5 of them that can play. So really good offense continuity is really what I'm looking for. I thought they did really well. I think Jake is back now with us after internet issues. Oh man, if you watch our show, you understand the frustration we have with this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Jake, I was just talking about some other winners and losers defensively. Jake, who stood out to you as maybe a winner and possibly a loser? I know it's hard to pick out a loser when you only give up 7 points.
Winner is definitely Deontay Lawson. I talked about him on our show, Stace, and I mean that dude. I knew he was going to be special this year, but I mean he is like just absolutely just a ball hawk and a heat-seeking missile when it comes to finding the ball and running from space to space, man. Sideline to sideline. I mean, he was all over the place tonight. So he was definitely a big winner. Losers, man, I don't think it's a player. I think it's daggum injuries. You lose Key early on after his interception. Then Malachi gets a little bit banged up, and then it looked like Kool-Aid went to the 10 after he got hit pretty hard. So injuries, we don't need injuries to start piling up, especially before Texas.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, next week's a big matchup, Jake, and I've just put a new poll out. MVP tonight: Jalen Milroe, Deontay Lawson, or somebody else. I'm with you. Deontay Lawson was all over the field. I mean, that dude made plays everywhere in the backfield. He had a sack, made plays in space. He is everything that we thought he could be entering this season as a redshirt sophomore at inside linebacker. And, I think that's a position group that could be really special for Alabama. Trez Marshall got the start alongside him. We saw Kendrick Blackshire make some plays, and that was without Jihad Campbell playing tonight after dealing with an injury. So he's expected to be back against Texas. So that's just more depth there at the inside linebacker position. So I think if you look at the inside linebacker position as a whole, that was one of the winners from the contest. I think from a loser's perspective, you brought up some of the injuries in the back end of the defense, and you saw a guy like Earl Little kind of get picked on a little bit there on the touchdown drive that Middle Tennessee State had. He's the guy who replaced Malachi Moore at star. So, I hate to pick on the guy because he was really seeing his first action in a college game. So, but that was a little disappointing to see him get picked on as much as he did on that one drive. So far, 87% of the voters believe that Jalen Milroe did earn the official QB1 job tonight with his performance against MTSU. And right now, 60% of the voters believe that Jalen Milroe was the MVP of the night. Jake, let's look a little deeper into Jalen Milroe's game and his performance tonight against MTSU. That first touchdown was a bad snap from Seth McLaughlin, which he had a couple tonight, which I don't remember him ever having in his 3 years that he's been playing for Alabama. So that was a little strange. But Milroe makes a touchdown out of it, something that he done something that you can't teach. His elite athleticism was on full display, and he gets that touchdown. Just your overall thoughts on Jalen and how you believe what he can do to kind of continue to prove that he can be the quarterback for Alabama.
Yeah, I was very impressed, early on with Jalen. I was impressed throughout the night with him. Just especially on that play there that you mentioned, Stacey. He grabbed the ball back up. Most of the time you see quarterbacks just fall on it in that situation. He grabbed it up and he stepped up in the pocket, grabbed the ball with two hands, like he's scanning to pass it somewhere, and then he's like, "No, I'm going to take it myself." And he had that lane and just took it right to the house. And I was very impressed with his instinct on that. Now there were some plays later on. I think it was in the second half on this like a couple of his possessions. He threw an underthrown ball to Ja'Cory Brooks, and then he threw one to Ja'Cory that had two defenders direct all over him. So, you got to pick better guys than that, and look off that guy and try to find somebody else. And I guess that's a real negative on Jalen, was he gets his one guy and that's all he's going to. He don't scan the field real good. So if his first option is not there, then he's got to find something else or make plays with his feet. And he tried to do that a couple of times tonight. And another thing, it's not really Jalen's fault, but it seems like the offensive line, especially early on pass protection, kind of struggled a little bit. But he didn't lose his confidence. Jalen didn't. So I was glad that he kept his confidence high throughout the entire game.
Yeah, and the chat's bringing up a lot of great points as far as the intermediate passing game goes, and I agree with him that was not there tonight. But I didn't even see really many plays that were designed to be that. So maybe that's just kind of protecting Milroe from that aspect of the game. That's something that he's going to have to grow and learn how to do. So, I mean, when you're an inexperienced player, that's the hardest part of the game, is throwing between the numbers in the intermediate passing game. So that's something he's got to learn. They also brought up the fact that the rushing attack was not quite as dominating as what maybe folks anticipated. And I agree with that, but a lot of that has to do with the way that Middle Tennessee State plays defense, the way they attack and shoot the gaps and run a lot of stunts. And you're not really going to have a lot of success on the ground because of the way they play. Right. But then with the way they play, you're going to have success hitting the deep ball because they're really aggressive. And Alabama was able to do that. So it's kind of a pick your poison type thing. And really pleased with the way, Milroe really just played within himself. He didn't try to do too much. He took the deep shots when they were there, and he tucked it and ran it when he had to. And I thought overall you can't really complain about the way he performed. And I think the running attack will be a little bit different looking next week against Texas, because I don't think Texas is going to run the same style of defense that MTSU did. MTSU has to run that style of defense because they're not real thick along the defensive line, so they have to shoot the gaps and play aggressive. And I don't expect that'll be the case next week with Texas, who has a little more, they have a little more beef and a little more talent along the defensive front.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. They did early on, kind of contain our offensive line and got some good shots and got into the backfield. But I feel like the second half, the offensive line got a little bit better, especially pass protection. And they're late in the game. I know, by this time, Middle Tennessee State's probably worn down defensively. There was one drive there where every offensive lineman drove their guy to the 10-yard line, and we got a first down running the ball. So, we've got to get a little bit more physical next week for Texas for sure. But overall, the team, I think, took care of what needed to be taken care of. I don't think the playbook was as open as it will be next week, like you mentioned. So I think this game versus next week's game is going to look like two totally different teams out there.
Yeah, and look, it's game one of the season. You're breaking in a lot of new players. You're breaking in new coordinators. So you're not – and you're playing a team that you're far more talented than. So you're not going to throw the whole kitchen sink at them. You're going to just kind of work your way into it. You're going to be methodical. You're going to be kind of vanilla on offense and really just let the game come to you. So you got to remember the opponent did kind of dictate a little bit of the way that the team did play relative to what they might look like in the future.
Yeah, I agree. And one guy I want to mention offensively is a guy that you mentioned, Stacey, Amari Niblack on our show. He wasn't really much of a factor early on, but he started finding holes there in that defense. And you get a little taste of what's to come with him at tight end here, this year and moving forward. He looks like he's going to be a special player.
Doc Moe wants to know, is the Alabama defense actually back? We'll find out next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then a immediate response from Ty Grad, Golding would have given up at least 21.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can all talk about it.
There's some obvious peak Golden haters in the chat.
Yeah.
If there's anybody, any questions or comments, please let us know there in the chat. We're going to keep this going for several more minutes. So really enjoying this.
Yeah.
Thankful for the opportunity we have here at Bleacher Report to kind of talk some Alabama football. Jake, if you want to, I want to talk about the defense a little bit since it was brought up. The defensive line, I thought it was interesting. Alabama, and of course, a lot of it is the opponent dictates kind of what you run defensively. They run a lot of nickel rabbits, which is one defensive lineman, 3 outside linebackers, and then the rest are defensive backs. So they run or one linebacker and the rest are defensive backs. So there was a lot of that because of the way MTSU like to spread Alabama out. But I thought it was more effective against MTSU than it was at any point last season when we ran it. I thought they did a better job of disguising what they were doing. Q Robinson was able to get a sack in that package, and I thought schematically and then in the execution side of the defense was a little bit better than what we even looked like some last year. Even with more experienced players playing last year, you got to think there's a lot of youth and inexperience on this defense. I mean, Deontay Lawson is really just becoming a full-time starter for Alabama. You look in the back end, Caleb Downs, a true freshman. Trey Amos is playing. Teron Arnold's still a young player. So there's still some young. Jalen Key's a transfer from UAB, so he's a new guy. So there's a lot of new faces there defensively, but I thought the execution was pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. The back end really held well tonight. We thought that was going to be the strong point. They did a lot of nickel, dinking and diming, which we had a feeling they was going to do that to get the ball off fairly quick. And there's a couple I feel like busted plays there where the running back, or not the running back, but the quarterback got loose for a couple big gains. Other than that, the defense was solid. Besides that one, give up a touchdown, but they, like you said earlier, they picked on Earl Little there for a little while since Key was out and Malachi. So, I'm okay with that. I wouldn't have been okay with giving up like 14-21 to these guys because I feel like we were the more talented team. But one thing that I did notice, and you mentioned Robinson, I was just talking about the outside linebackers. They and the linebacking group as a whole, man. I talked about Deontay Lawson, but my gosh, they were all over, everybody as soon as they got the ball tonight. I mean, it was incredible to see. And that's just a little snippet of what you have under a, Kevin Steele defense. Your linebackers are going to be making plays and wreaking havoc.
I thought the pursuit as a team defensively was really, really, really good. They were flying around to the football. They were tracking the ball. They forced turnovers, which is something that they really struggled with in 2022. They forced 2 turnovers tonight. Blackshire with an incredible play where he's making the tackle and he strips it and just takes it away from the MTSU receivers. So that was a lot of fun. Jalen Key did a great job reading the eyes of the quarterback and breaking on the ball and intercepting the play in the first half, which set up a touchdown for the Alabama offense late in the first half. So and that's what the defense is going to have to do for Alabama as they break in a lot of youth on the offensive side of the football. Alabama needs the defense to create turnovers and put the offense in advantageous situations in plus territory to make it easier on that offense and the young quarterback. So they done that tonight, and the offense then punched it in and got points on the board. So it was a really good team effort. I thought James Burnett from a punter situation did really good. Kool-Aid had a couple good returns. Every kickoff seemed to go in the end zone. All the extra points were good. So special teams was right on point tonight for Alabama as well. So I thought as a team, they looked really good. And there's one other point that I really want to emphasize, Jake, the penalties. Was there one penalty? 2?
There was 3, I think, total.
3? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was really critical. The penalties, that's something that really haunted Alabama back in 2022. I think, was it 19 at Texas, 17 at Tennessee? I mean, that's way too many. I mean, just in those 2 games alone, that's about as many as you need to have throughout an entire season. So, the fact that they got those cut down a little bit, and I thought I thought it was really just a balanced performance from the Alabama team.
Yeah, I was gonna, or I had, penalties as another big winner tonight for this Bama team because we have been plagued with injuries the last couple of seasons. So just limiting those, I feel like, of course, that was just one game. It could change all next week, but you set yourself in a bad situation when you get false starts. You putting yourself 10 yards back behind, from where you start, and now it's second, 1st and 20 instead of 1st and 10. Stuff like that, just mental errors. And I didn't really see any mental errors offensively or defensively tonight. So that is a positive moving forward.
Yeah, I thought, like I said, I just think all around in all three phases of the game, it was a really solid performance. I want to get to the chat, though, just to get everybody involved. Doc Mo says ball control, less 3-and-outs, with 3 straight passing plays, kept the defense fresh, rotated the backs, and Milroe hit open receivers. Yeah, I thought that was really important. There was a couple of back-to-back 3-and-outs early in the halfway through the first half, but then after that, it was really all Alabama. They really had their way offensively after that. UA 777 says, interesting. Braswell was given so many opportunities and Dallas wasn't at the same time. I'm sure they don't want to show many packages, though. Yeah, that is probably it. I really, between Braswell, Turner, and Robinson, I think that is 3 dudes that can get after the passer. So
Yeah.
I like what they have there.
Yeah, I agree. And everybody knows about Dallas Turner. So I'm sure they probably was putting extra guys over there to cover him. And nobody knows about Braswell. He's finally getting his chance to showcase what he can do. And I feel like he did that tonight because there's a couple times he got off of his guy and just lit the quarterback up. So I don't know the sack stats in this game. Or the QB hurries, but I know that quarterback for a while was scrambling and it was either taken down or had to run out of the pocket. So QB hurries was really big tonight.
Yeah, I think there was at least 3 sacks, and there was several hurries.
Yep. Most is 28-24 Bama next week.
Yeah, we're fisting to get just before we wrap it up. We want to get into next week just for a second to just real quickly. But people were asking about Malachi Moore. I have not heard nothing yet. Of course, I just hopped on here right after the game ended to do this, so I don't know much right now. But that would definitely be a huge miss for Alabama if Malachi Moore was not able to play against Texas. But I'm sure Coach Saban's going to give an update as best he can tonight. And he'll have more news on Monday when he has his press conference. He usually has one on Monday, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, Roderick Baker says, I love the attacking style, and I'm sure it's what he's talking about defensively. Yes, that there was a lot of pressures, and it was well designed. It was not given up too easily. They disguised it really well. So I really like the way Kevin Steele kind of dialed things up tonight. A really good plan. And like I said, I thought the execution was really, really good.
Yeah, execution was the biggest thing I was wanting to see out of this team. And the attacking style, I love it. We talked, a lot about how they need to be more aggressive and more physical. And I vividly remember that hit that Jaheim Otis. I mean, he looked like a linebacker out there on the outside and just absolutely lit that. I think it was a running back or a wide receiver, just absolutely lit him up. So, and of course, Deontay Lawson's right there too as well. So, but just get more physical on defense. That's what I've been wanting to see the past couple of years, and I feel like this defense is getting there.
Yeah, Roderick says Lawson looks like Mosley. Yeah, that's the way he just flies around and makes plays all over the field, sideline to sideline. I mean, that dude looks special. He looks special.
Yeah, sorry, my dog was barking. But yeah, I'm excited about the season that Lawson's about to have.
Good update here from UA777. Malachi walked through the tunnel like he normally would, so probably just precautionary. Hopefully that is the case because he is he's very integral to the success, especially in the back end. He makes all the calls. He's the most veteran player back there, so having him available for Texas will be huge. And speaking of Texas, Jake, before we wrap it up, Man, what a game next week in Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's incredible. When you have two programs like Alabama and Texas playing prime time, it doesn't get any better than that, especially this early in the season. I
Right.
cannot wait for that matchup, Jake. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of the Texas game today, but they're not a finished product either. It's still early. Most of the time teams make their biggest jump from week 1 to week 2. So we'll find out a lot about both these teams next Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. And just your initial thoughts on the game and what you think Alabama needs to do well to come out on top next week.
Yeah, I'm under the lights of Brian Denny next week that stadium was hopping tonight. It's definitely gonna be a hopping next week when Texas comes to town. Things that I feel like we need to shore up this week is pass protection among the offensive line. Like I mentioned, first half was kind of a struggle early on. The second half they got a lot better. So I feel like we need to get better, offensive line wise, get a little bit more physical and get after it. Jalen Milroe, if he's probably going to come out QB1. I have no doubt about it. Just get him in a rhythm in the game. Somebody said in the comment, BT Smith 5924 said would love to see about 15 to 25 yards pass attempts. I think he had 18 tonight. So, he'll probably have 20, 25 in this game for sure.
No, he's talking about the yardage attempts, like the more intermediate passing game.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think you got to get him in more of a rhythm and get him acclimated to the offense a little bit more, and then take some shots. When the opportunity comes. I'd like to see that from Milroe. He did a couple times tonight and was spot on. And defensively, I feel like just continue with that attacking style. Get after the quarterback and make sure you cover your guy in the back end and limit Texas making the big plays.
Yeah, I agree, and I like what I think Alabama needs to do defensively. I'll start with that. Is they can't allow Texas to have continued success on the ground, because with players like Xavier Worthy at wide receiver, you can only contain those guys so many times. He's going to make a play or two. It's going to happen because he's too talented, and Quinn Ewers is too talented of a quarterback. So
Right.
You're going to give up a couple of those in the game, but how you play outside of those plays is going to be what's critical. So if they can contain the run, not allow any big plays in the running game, keep Texas honest defensively as far as the way you attack those guys, how much pressure you bring on yours, that's going to be critical to the success defensively. And like you said, offensively, it's just about getting Milroe comfortable in the game. Roger brought up in the chat, Milroe is from Texas. This game is going to mean something to him.
Yeah,
playing in his home state against his in-state school. A team that he was committed to before he flipped to Alabama. So this is personal to him. I could see a big-time performance from Milroe, and that really being what introduces him to the world of college football. And what a better way to do that, in week 2 under the lights of Bryant-Denny Stadium against the Texas Longhorns. What an incredible moment that could be for Alabama. It could really be a season and a career-defining moment for Jalen Milroe. So I'm excited to see what he can do next Saturday night. And I think you're going to see a little bit different game plan because, like I said, the way MTSU plays defense, you don't play a lot of teams that play that way. So You kind of got to attack them and take what they're going to give you, which is a lot of deep shots. And that's what Alabama did, and Alabama made them pay.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. I'm ready for next Saturday already. It's just going to be a great game for sure.
Yeah, I like what UA 777 said. It's he looked better as a passer for sure, but they have to implement more design runs. I agree with that. I seen like 1, 2, maybe 3 design runs from Milroe. Right. I expect that number to be closer to 10 against Texas, just to keep that Texas defense honest. And what that is going to do is then open up more running lanes for guys like Jace McClellan, Rodale Williams, Jam Miller, and allow those guys to make plays on the ground. So Milroe's legs will be crucial next week against Texas.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited. I feel like he played his way to QB number 1, and And I feel like if he has a big game against Texas, he's going to be the quarterback for the rest of the year if he holds on to it. And I believe he will.
Yeah, I'm dropping one more thing in the chat. I want everybody to drop their score predictions for next week between Alabama and Texas. And I cannot wait to see what you guys say. Jake, do you have an early score prediction that you want to kind of run with for right now?
I'm going to say 38-24 Bama.
38-24 Alabama. I like that. Yeah, I kind of in that boat a little bit with you. I'm going to say 35-20 Alabama. I think this game might be close for about a quarter and a half, and then I think you start to see Alabama and Jalen Milroe get to be more comfortable in the game, more comfortable within that offense, and you see the defense kind of like the offense become more comfortable in playing Texas and really start to kind of suffocate that offense and make plays, force a couple turnovers, and get that Texas offense reeling. And I think Alabama kind of starts to get on cruise control in the second half, and I think they pull away with a 2-score victory.
Yeah, and you got to think there's a lot of talk the off season about how Texas is going to beat Bama this year. Those players have that in the back of their mind. I'm sure Nick Saban is going to make sure that those guys remember that all through practice this week. And I think these guys are going to be ready for Texas.
No doubt. But hey, that's we're going to wrap up our post-game reaction show now. If you would give us a follow on Twitter, I'm at, or X, whatever you want to call it now. I'm at Blackwood89. Jake is at Jake Thomas TTS. So make sure you give us follows there. We would appreciate that. You can also follow our show, which is nonstop Alabama football talk at Tide Talk Live. So make sure you do that. We're free and available wherever you find podcasts, including YouTube. So we appreciate that. We appreciate this platform that Bleacher Report has given us. We are going to be back right here again next week in the post game after Alabama, Texas. So make sure you join us next week as well. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back next week. See you soon. And until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.